favorite film of all time is Whiplash, and as of the last 4 years, my favorite director is Damien Chazelle. If you don't know Damien Chazelle, you probably know his small portfolio of films. He is the writer and director of Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench, Whiplash, and La La Land. He is also the director of First Man, however, unlike the other 3 films, he did not write First Man. Many film critics call Chazelle the next Scorsese or the next Spielberg, but regardless of the comparisons, the high praise for Damien Chazelle is well deserved. By the young age of 33, his films have earned a total of 23 Oscar nominations and went on to win 10 Oscars. Damien Chazelle is also the youngest filmmaker to ever win the Oscar for Best Director. With all these accolades so early in his career and becoming my personal favorite director, what is it that makes Damien Chazelle's films so great? In this video, we'll look at the writing of Damien's 3 original films. I'll discuss the film's plots, the characters, and the themes. We'll also look at the music in all of the films and highlight Justin Hurwitz's involvement. And finally, we'll talk about the importance of being authentic with your work. There will also be a part 2 to this video, where I'll break down the evolution of Damien's directing. If you haven't seen any of the movies, spoilers. Being that we're talking about the writing in part 1, I'll only discuss the 3 films Damien has written and directed. I won't include the writer-for-hire work he did. I'll also discuss the films in the order they were written, not in the order they were filmed. So the written order being Guy and Madeline, La La Land, and then Whiplash. When you compare the scripts, you'll notice quite a few similarities. First, the films are all two-handers, meaning there are only 2 main characters, Guy and Madeline, Sebastian and Mia, Neiman and Fletcher. Not only are they all two-handers, but the main characters are very similar in each of the films. The male protagonists are noticeably identical. They are all young, ambitious jazz musicians pursuing their dreams. Guy is an up-and-coming jazz trumpeter living and playing in Boston, playing the trumpet for a wide array of gigs. Sebastian is a jazz pianist, obsessed with a dying genre. He does a bunch of gig work, with the dreams of one day opening his own jazz club. And then there's Andrew Neiman, a young jazz drummer with the aspirations of becoming one of the greats. On the other end of the two-hander, we have a bit more diversity, but there's still a clear evolution of the characters from film to film, which we'll dive into in a bit. But the other characters are Madeline, a recent graduate who is looking for her purpose in the world, Mia, an actress trying to make her way through Hollywood, working as a barista just to keep the dream alive, and then Terrence Fletcher, an instructor of studio band, the top jazz group at the Schaefer Conservatory. With each script, Damien refines the male protagonist. Andrew becomes more ambitious than Sebastian, and Sebastian becomes more ambitious than Guy. By increasing the character's motivation from film to film, it creates more drama, adds new levels to their relationship, and reimagines the same theme. On the other side of the two-hander, the characters also evolve in their ambition, starting with Madeline, who is lacking purpose, to Mia, a character with clear ambitions, to Fletcher, a ruthless instructor with hopes of uncovering the next great jazz musician by any means necessary. Damien increases their ambitions as he did with the male protagonist, but with each script, he also had the characters become more similar to their counterpart. It's this progression that keeps each film fresh and makes it better than the last. The films evolve from being 2 characters with different ambitions, to 2 characters sharing an ambition but with a different passion, to 2 characters having a shared ambition and a shared passion. And while the characters become more similar to one another, I find the dynamic between the characters also becomes more compelling. Having your characters' motivations at the forefront of the film makes for a very compelling plot. And having your characters lean on the extreme side of whatever philosophy they embody creates really interesting characters. One of the reasons Damien Chazelle's films are great is the fact that he's been refining similar characters in his films. He's become more clear with their motivations and desires. He's found new interesting dynamics between relationships, and he's become really good at writing two-hander plots. While these 3 films share similar characters and plots, they also share similar themes. One of the reasons I really love Damien Chazelle is the feeling I get after watching his films. I just can't help but feel inspired and motivated, and it's all because of the theme. One of the themes that exist in all three films is the pursuit of your dreams. This theme is present in Guy and Madeline on a park bench. There's a dichotomy between Guy, with his love for jazz and his dedication to playing the trumpet, and Madeline, with her aimless pursuit of purpose. But even Madeline finds the desire to pursue life by making the decision to move to New York. With La La Land, the theme comes to the forefront of the story. Both protagonists have ambitions and clearly defined dreams. Mia's pursuit of becoming an actress, and Sebastian's pursuit of one day owning a jazz club. In Whiplash, this theme is taken to an extreme. Neiman is a young drummer with the hopes of becoming one of the greats. He will stop at nothing to realize his dreams. And Fletcher is a ruthless instructor with the dreams of uncovering the next great jazz musician. And in the end, through torture and contempt for each other, they both fulfill their dreams. The theme of pursuing your dream leaves me feeling inspired. I see the hard work and dedication of the characters, and it just motivates me to work harder. This choice in theme is a large part why the films resonate with me and so many others. Everyone has dreams and aspirations of some sort, and even with First Man, though Damien did not write it, I think the subject worked really well for him because it also hit on that same theme. There isn't anything quite like the ambition the United States had when trying to put a man on the moon. It's truly fascinating. A story of a man willing to die in pursuit of getting to the moon is a very fitting plot for Damien Chazelle. Let's talk about the music. The theme of music is strong in all three original films. Often in film, the music comes at the end of the process. You write, shoot, and edit the film first, then you score it. Some films take the approach of having the score beforehand, like Todd Phillips' Joker. He had the score composed based off of the script, and then used that score during the production, which created a special relationship to the music, similar to how a musical would be made. In musicals, the music is usually written with the script, but a common problem with musicals is when the characters randomly break out into song and dance. When done poorly, this can distract from the plot and pull the viewer out of the immersive experience. But in Damien's films, because the music is already woven into the plot and the characters, this never feels like the case. You expect the characters to express themselves with music. In the three original films, you can feel that the music was a thought during the writing process. Being that Damien and Justin are both musicians, their experience adds a level of authenticity to the film. Another advantage is that all the actors play their respective instruments. I think it really helped the film transition into the musical numbers, because it fit the characters and it fit the story. But there is a seamlessness of it that Justin created. There is a rhythm to the music that matches the story and the characters, and it feels so fitting and natural. Like everything naturally builds to this expectation that the character is going to break out into song or dance. For example, let's take a look at another popular musical from the modern era and see how they transition into song and dance. I mean, even Meryl Streep looks surprised by the random musical outburst. Now, let's look at how La La Land transitions into a musical number. Justin is a master at this. In La La Land, a few of the numbers were recorded live on set, meaning Justin was off-screen playing live to accompany the actor's performance. For this scene specifically, Emma sang live and has an earpiece in which she can hear Justin in the other room playing the piano to her rhythm. Everything in the film cues you into what the character is going to do, and it works so well. Justin's involvement in all three of the original films provide a seamlessness between the music and the plot. The music was a thought beforehand, not afterwards, and you can really feel that. I highly recommend watching the films and paying close attention to how the films transition in and out of a musical number. The final reason I love Damien Chazelle is how authentic his films are. They are all films that only Damien could have made. For example, it is clear Damien loves jazz. From all the Charlie Parker references, to
Charlie Parker,
to the Buddy Rich photos, to the references of jazz as a dying genre. Damien's films are filled with authentic jazz references. You can tell these are things he's actually thought about as a jazz musician himself. And it's true, most people don't like jazz, so why would a movie focused on jazz music with all these authentic jazz references make the movie so great? To answer that, I think Mia says it best.
That people will want to go to it because you're passionate about it, and people love what other people are passionate about.
It's true, people might not love jazz themselves, but if a character has an authentic love and passion for it, it's easier for the audience to love that character. People really do love what other people are passionate about. Damien's 3 original films are a perfect case study for what happens when a movie is fully authentic. All 3 films were Damien's films. He didn't compromise on the vision and was as authentic as he could be. Here's some Damien's thoughts on that.
So essentially I had Final Cut, which is unheard of, and so I had this remarkably spoiled kind of experience making exactly the movie I wanted to make with exactly the people I wanted to make about exactly the subject, no matter how rarefied that I wanted it to be. I also think anytime you do make a movie, you want to try to make it as though it's your last movie that you're ever going to make.
Right.
You know, that to never assume you're going to get the opportunity again. Just assume that you will be unhireable after, and in permanent director jail after
Right.
it. And so you might as well go to town. You
Right.
might as well put every inch of yourself in it and be able to look at it and go, okay, I'll never get to make another movie, but at least that movie I made there at least reflects enough of who I am or who I was at that point that I can be okay with it.
All 3 films feel very personal to Damien Chazelle. It's something only he could have made, and that goes a long ways. Referencing his own journey as a jazz drummer, referencing his own journey into Hollywood, and even referencing themes from his own life, the pursuit of a dream. Damien shares the ambition of his characters, and what started as a student film eventually evolved into a beautiful portfolio of movies that I and so many other people love. Damien, through his writing, has fulfilled a similar path to his characters. The evolution of Guy Madeline to La La Land and then Whiplash was not only an evolution of plot, characters, and themes, but was an evolution of Damien as a storyteller and a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. So, how can we apply this to our own writing? I realize there is no clear-cut formula to making a great film. It'd be naive to think there ever was or ever will be, but Damien has quickly made an imprint on cinema history with this small body of work so early in his career, and I think there's a few key reasons to how he did that. First, there is a benefit to reworking similar material and similar characters over and over. Just because all 3 films have musical components, and all 3 films feature a lead protagonist who is a jazz musician, it doesn't feel repetitive or unoriginal. As you rework similar scripts, you might find new interesting characters and new interesting dynamics that could lead to your best work yet. Second, do not neglect character motives. Having clear motives can create interesting dynamic between the characters and creates for compelling stories. As the characters became more extreme in their philosophy, I found the films to become more interesting. Find a theme that's fitting to you as a writer. If you experience it, odds are other people experience it too. Being a jazz musician and filmmaker, Damien is very familiar with the themes in his films. His life has been him pursuing his dream and the pain and sacrifice it takes to get there. It's a theme that a lot of people relate to, and this choice in theme is one of the reasons his work really speaks to me. Music is a very crucial part to all filmmaking. Even silent films are accompanied with a score, so find creative ways to have the music enhance the characters and the story. So while you might not be making a musical, getting that feeling of everything working together to drive the plot forward is part of what makes a film successful. Have music be a thought beforehand, not afterwards. If you have the greatest film ever but the music is awful, it's hands down going to be an awful film. And finally, authenticity. This is the most important lesson you can take away from Damien's work. In order for a film to be good, it has to be authentic. And the more authentic it is, the better it becomes. The more of you there is in the script, the more you allow the things you love to influence your art, and the more authentic the outcome. Remember, people love what other people are passionate about. Damien is passionate about jazz music and cinema. What are you passionate about? Thank you for watching. Are there any filmmakers that stand out to you? Let me know in the comments down below. I recommend you check out part 2, where we discuss Damien as a director and identify some of the techniques he uses in his 3 original films. And as always, please give this video a like and click the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, Until next time.